one of my mom's favorite dishes, seafood lasagna.
So I've got a container of ricotta cheese here, full fat. I'm gonna add some thawed spinach that I have kind of wrung out, took all the juice out. Got some artichoke hearts. You can find this in like a jar in your vegetable aisle. I'm gonna add some mozzarella cheese, a little salt, and some breadcrumbs. Growing up, my mom would always make lasagna. That is one of her favorite things to make. And one day, she decided to get real fancy and change up the lasagna. And she made a seafood lasagna with Alfredo sauce. And I have been craving that lasagna for a long time now. All right, so I'm mixing my ricotta with my mozzarella cheese. Now I'm gonna add 1 egg. And now I'm going to zest this lemon. So I'm just combining all of my ingredients. Got the ricotta, artichoke hearts, a little mozzarella, an egg, Italian breadcrumbs, and lemon zest. Now I'm gonna cook the seafood for my seafood lasagna. I'm gonna melt a few tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna add 2 pounds of Charleston shrimp, some garlic that I've minced, and a little seafood seasoning. All right, so I'm just gonna cook my shrimp until it turns opaque. It doesn't take shrimp to cook long at all. Woo-hoo! My mom is gonna smell this as soon as she hits that porch. All right, so my shrimp is cooked. I can just eat this bowl of shrimp. So now I have some white wine here. I'm just gonna deglaze my pan. You see all that good seasoning and stuck on garlic that's at the bottom? That's gonna create a really nice essence to the seafood. A little lemon juice. I'm gonna cook this down just a little bit, reduce it by half, and then add in my crab meat. Ooh, that smells great. But you know what else smells good? The shrimp. And grab one. Quality control. This is how I feel about it. I'm gonna add my lump crab meat. Now I'm gonna add my shrimp back into my pan here. Look at that. So I'm gonna turn this off. And now I'm gonna make my bechamel. I'm gonna take unsalted butter, about a half a stick. I'm gonna melt this down and then add in flour. That's gonna help get this sauce nice and thick. So that looks great. Now I'm going to add 3 cups of whole milk. And I'm adding freshly grated nutmeg. Now, this is something that my mom never did. And I found throughout the years that freshly grated nutmeg just warms up the bechamel, and it gives this a little slightly like aromatic flavor. A little goes a long way with freshly grated nutmeg. 1.5 cups of Romano cheese. Romano has that kind of like that nuttiness and saltiness that you get in Parmesan cheese, just a little bit more. And this bechamel is just one of the twists on my mom's seafood lasagna. All right, so my bechamel has thickened. All right, Mom, I'm gonna add a little bit of my bechamel sauce into that ricotta. Did I do that right?
I didn't used to do it that way, but...
I just put a little bit of the bechamel in there because it's gonna help loosen up the ricotta and make it a little bit more spreadable. That's it.
Okay, I can agree with that.
The next thing I remember is you put a little sauce down at the bottom.
Always, and so it won't stick.
So a little bit down at the bottom. They have a new thing, Mom.
What is the new thing, Kardea?
It's ready to bake. You don't have to boil it. So these pasta sheets get nice and soft, like as if you would boil it, just in the oven with heat.
You know what? Even in the stores today, I still go for the ball.
Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Roof, I guess so.
Put sauce down, spread it all over the noodles. Let's put the ricotta down next.
Looks good so far.
Can you do the honors by adding the seafood mixture?
Sure I can. Don't look over me like your grandma do. You know, that makes you nervous, you know, when we're in the kitchen and you know when your grandma does that.
Oh my gosh,
you can't stand that.
That's not what I do. Well, now I'm gonna get in here like grandma and help you out because
see?
You're not spreading enough for me.
Isn't that something? You're telling
gotta
me
have
my
equal
recipe. Isn't that
You
something?
gotta have equal distribution, Mom. I didn't know how you did it. I just know it tasted good. Break it in half. Sauce, the ricotta and spinach and artichoke mixture. I'm repeating those same layers now. All right, Mom, I'm gonna top it off with the last bit of sauce. Can you top it off with the rest of the mozzarella cheese?
Okay.
Nice and even.
You telling me? Okay. Isn't that something?
I'm gonna cover my lasagna and bake it at 350 for about 30 minutes, and then bake it uncovered for an additional 15 minutes, and that's gonna get it nice and browned, and you're gonna see all those bubbles on the corners.
Oh, I can't wait to see how this comes out. Hopefully it'll come out like it's supposed to.
Or better.
Really? Ooh, that looks good.
All right, it's getting there. We need some bubble and some brown. That's why you gotta take the top off. All right, Ma, you wanna see?
Yes,
You wanna
let's
see?
Let's see what it looks like.
Let's see if it looks like yours. We gotta wait to see if it tastes like yours, though.
Okay.
Ooh, look.
Oh, now it's bubbling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at this, cousins.
Oh, that's pretty.
Look at that. Okay, Ma, now I have to top it off with some more parsley. A little color, a little herbiness.
Ooh.
All right, Ma, let's dig in.
Ooh, yes. Oh, that looks so good,
It's
Kardea.
cheesy.
There it is, there it is. Ooh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if this stands up to your recipe.
I'll see. Oh, that's good.
I'm making my summer fish fry, because y'all, I love a summer fish fry. So I've got my cod here cut in little 2-inch chunks. Sonny, I'm putting you on tartar sauce duty. There is nothing air fried about this tartar sauce. There's nothing light about it. We're going straight mayonnaise.
Straight mayo.
Go for the full fat. I'm never a light mayonnaise gal. And then we've got Dijon mustard. There's some vinegar over there, some chopped cornichons, some capers, and then fresh dill. And you can put it in those little cute containers while I salt and pepper our fish over here. Now, I'm using cod. You could use hake. You could use haddock. Any of those firm white fish really work well for this. And then I'm gonna do our standard fib. So flour, egg, breadcrumb, and I'm gonna season up those breadcrumbs for us with a little bit of paprika and some garlic powder. Y'all know I love my garlic powder. Some salt and some pepper. And you could also use like an all-purpose seasoning if you got one of those. So I'm using panko. You could also use just regular breadcrumbs if that's what you got. Obviously, I think when it comes to heart health, you know, to not deep fry, you certainly are getting benefits from that. But this is also just really quick and less mess, if that's what you're looking for.
You don't have a quart of oil to throw away.
Right,
What do you do with that?
Because when it's time to fry,
Fishy
you end
oil.
up with all of this oil that you
That's
gotta
fishy,
do something
right?
with it.
Yeah.
And so this is great if it's Tuesday night and you're wanting something like this, to not have the mess. And it's also so fast. So I think the air fryer is great for those quick meals that you wanna put together. So I'm just coating it in the egg, and then you wanna let the extra egg drip off and put it right into your breadcrumbs, and make sure all of that fish is covered in the egg, because if it's not, then you're gonna have those little spots without any breading, and we're all about the breading, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put these right into the bottom.
Do you have to preheat the air fryer, Katie?
You can preheat your air fryer. That definitely helps, for sure. Now, if you don't have an air fryer out there and you're thinking, well, how am I gonna make this recipe? An air fryer is not actually frying.
Say that again
What?
for the people in the back.
Are you
Not
talking
Say it again
about?
for the people in the back, Katie.
Yes, it's essentially a convection oven. So what you can do is get a sheet pan, put a cookie rack over top of it, you know, like a cooling rack, and then put your food right on top of that, put it in the oven, set it to convection, and that's gonna get that air circulating just like the air fryer does. All right, so this goes into the air fryer, 350 degrees for 10 minutes total, and then what you're gonna do is at 5 minutes, take it out, flip it, put it back in for 5 minutes. I've got one going right here. And then for the chips, after those fish are done, I take them out, set them aside, and I put the fries in, and then like the last 2 minutes of the fries, I put the fish back in so that it reheats. Sonny, you got that tartar sauce for
I
me?
do.
And then you get your fish and chips. So I found that this is a great way also to get kids to eat fish, is to have the little fish and chips. And I want to show you guys just how crispy this fish is.
Very pretty. I'm
Look
very
at the
impressed.
browning on that,
Very
Sonny. Is this Sonny approved?
Nice.
For crunch factor?
Well, I'm gonna have to hear the
It's
crunch.
not fried,
I wanna
but
hear the
it has
crunch.
the crunch factor,
Yeah.
okay?
I actually think the air fryer, and this, if you're doing like, say, for 3 or 4, is more efficient than wasting.
Dill garnish.
Oh.
I think it's more efficient than wasting a whole oven, because once you heat that whole big box up, just cooking for 2 people or 3 people, it's better in the air
Jeffrey,
fryer.
you tell me what you
Wow,
think.
look at that, so cute.
Taste this.
Yes,
I love that. It reminds me of being
healthy
in
basket.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Jeffrey, this
my
is from your
roots.
neck of the woods.
Yeah.
I love basket food. I think basket
too.
food is highly underrated.
Okay.
Don't you?
I actually really like the presentation of this.
I do too.
This is really good. I'm gonna double dip, but I did the flip.
Send it
You gotta
on
flip
down.
when you double dip.
It's so good. The tartar sauce is like dictionary tartar sauce, perfect.
I like
You
to
need
have the
acid and you need
capers.
dill.
Yeah, or even vinegar. If you didn't have a lemon, you splash some vinegar on it.
It's just everything's great. It's cooked perfectly. It's moist.
A big clam bake. In my bowl, I have some melted butter. I'm using a stick of butter. We're gonna put that right in our bowl. To that, I'm gonna add some of my seasonings. I have chili flakes. I like a little bit of heat in mine. This is obviously an optional ingredient. If you like it even spicier than me, go crazy. Dealer's choice, that's how we roll here on Simon's Dinners. Also, some seafood seasoning. You know, it has celery salt, smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne, some cumin in there. It just worked really nice with the clams and is gonna help us flavor our broth quite a bit. So to this, I'm gonna add, I have 4 cobs of corn. I cut them in half because the way that we serve this is I literally just dump the whole thing right on the table, and it's just a little bit easier for people to manage when they're split. So these go in. I'm putting sweet potatoes in here. Some people put whole potatoes. You want it about the same size as your corn. So if you have huge potatoes, quarter them. If they're the size of the corn right off the rip, you could just put them in whole. So just kind of keep everything the same size so things are steaming and cooking at the same rate. And the last thing I'm gonna do is season this up with a little bit of kosher salt and cracked black pepper.
You're leaving the skins on the potatoes?
I leave the skins right on. We clean the skins first. I wash the outside of the potatoes, but I leave it all on there. There's a lot of vitamins, so I leave it all together, and it holds it together a little bit as it's cooking. We give this a toss. It's just like with the saute pan. You gotta get that flip going. All right, so we get the chilies, the seasoning, everything coats everything real nice. So we have a bunch of garlic cloves. You don't have to peel these or anything. They're gonna get strained out eventually. I put 10 or 12 in there. I have 2 onions. You could half or quarter them. They go in the pot.
Could I use yellow onions in there too?
Pick an onion, any onion. You could add any onion that you want in here, Liv. No worries about any of that. We're gonna put in our stock. I'm using chicken stock here, about 4 cups. Obviously, a seafood stock would work great. You could even do a beef stock if you want a slightly deeper flavor. And I'm going to put in 2 IPAs. You could do beer choice. I like the hoppiness of the IPAs in here, you know, but that's your choice. And then just a touch of salt and pepper in there. And we're in a good place.
What are your thoughts if someone doesn't have fresh garlic? Could they do garlic powder in here, or would that be weird?
Just be careful. You know, the garlic powder tends to get a little intense on you, so just, I would say, be a little bit tentative with it. You have a little bit more control with the cloves, and you're gonna get more of that fresh garlic flavor with the cloves. So this is our base. On top of that, I put my pot. Whew. Put it on that grill. It's a little hot right now. And we're gonna take our corn, our potatoes, our butter, the seasoning, and I'm gonna dump it right in. See what's going on, Liv? Are you tall enough?
I'm on my tiptoes.
Here, I'll tilt it toward you. That all goes in. And we're gonna let this start to come to a simmer, and then everything's gonna start steaming in there, and it's gonna start cooking the corn and the potatoes. We wanna cook this about halfway through before we begin to add our clams and our sausage. Chorizo, as you can see, I just kind of gave it a nice char on the grill. That's what I'm looking to do. We didn't cook it through because it's gonna cook through when it steams with those clams. So, Lizzie, here's what we got going. I have sweet potatoes, corn, that I toss in a little bit of butter, chili flake, you know, just kind of letting that seafood seasoning. And then underneath, I have some stock and IPA and onions and garlic. And I'm gonna top it with the clams and a little bit of grilled chorizo.
Great.
I didn't cook the chorizo through, I just charred it on the grill. I'm gonna put the chorizo on here.
Nice.
Then these beautiful middle neck clams, we already washed them, soaked them.
Scrubbed them. I was working hard.
Did all that good stuff.
In there.
These are gonna go on top. And then we put the lid back on, and when they open, all the juice from the clams rolls down into that broth. Yeah, pop it on, yep. And which is gonna give our broth so much flavor, and then I'm gonna amp the broth up a little bit at the end too.
Yes.
That's gonna take about 8 to 10 minutes or till those clams pop open.
Great.
Look out, I'm gonna put this on here.
Okay.
Lots of hot things.
Out of the way.
That's, ooh, and you can see that steaming. Now,
the hot
Liv,
zone.
look at this.
That smells so
Oh, man. So, Liz, in here I put chicken stock, I put some IPA, garlic, onions, and then the clam broth. And then I'm gonna put in a couple shakes of hot sauce.
That's got a little chipotle
Little
in
smoky
it.
chipotle hot sauce. And I'm gonna do a little bit of butter just to finish this clam broth off. And now we have this beautiful clam broth to drink. All right, so that's ready to go. Now for the big moment. Liv, get in there. So see the steam's coming off, the clams have opened, the sausage is cooked, our corn, our potatoes, and then we just dump it right down the middle. Oh boy.
That looks so good.
Doesn't it? You could start putting the lemons on there. A little clam broth for Lizzie. A little cheers with this.
Oh, wow. That's intense and good.
Right? Cheers. It is intense and good and buttery. All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
get right in.
I'm gonna have a clam.
Things do smell kind of buttery in here.
The clam is great because they just popped open, so they're still super juicy. They took on all the flavors from the liquid underneath them, and they dropped all their juice into our broth.
They have got just a tinge of like back heat. Is there something a little spicy in there?
Yeah, I did. I put a little spice in there. Your palate is impeccable.
I do want a little sweet potato action though.
Okay.
I like the sweet potato in a clam bake.
Do you?
Because the saltiness of the clam, you know, kind of goes nicely with that sort of sweetness of the sweet potato.
Yeah, it's salt and sweet.
I think I like it better than a regular potato.
Which is always
I love
good.
Roasted striped bass is a really easy thing to make, and it actually looks fantastic. First, I'm going to make a sauce with lots of Mediterranean flavors. Saffron, garlic, tomatoes, and then we're going to bake the striped bass in the sauce. So first for the sauce, I need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, about a cup of chopped onion, 2 ounces of pancetta, give it a little smoky flavor. You can use bacon if you can't find pancetta. I'm going to cook the pancetta and onions together for about 10 minutes until the onions are translucent and the pancetta is cooked. So just about a tablespoon of chopped garlic. It's about 3 large cloves of garlic. Right in. Let's cook it for a minute, just until the garlic starts to cook. Okay, now I need some tomatoes. 1 can of chopped tomatoes. I want to drain the tomatoes. I'm just going to take them out with a slotted spoon, right into the sauce. Just like that, okay. Just stir them in. Okay, give it even more flavor. A little saffron, very Mediterranean. Teaspoon of salt. I always use kosher salt. Half a teaspoon of pepper. And some wine, about a half cup of white wine. Always use a good wine that you would drink. And just to give it even more flavor, about a 1/4 cup of Pernod, which is a fennel-flavored liqueur. Just enough. That's a real Provencal flavor. So the sauce is going to simmer for about 5 minutes. I'm going to get the fish ready. I have 1 bass fillet, an incredibly large bass fillet, which I'm going to cut in half so it'll fit in the dish. Just cut it right in half. Turn it around. Okay, that looks good. Just like that. I have about 24 mussels that have been cleaned. Just put them right on top. And a pound of shrimp that I actually peeled and deveined, but I just left the tails on because I think it looks great. Just like that. Sprinkle it with salt and pepper. Okay, right on the top. Okay, I'm gonna bake at 350 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes until the fish is just cooked and the mussels are open. Everybody enjoyed it. Striped bass with shrimp and mussels.
Get ready to treat yourself with my crispy Nashville hot popcorn shrimp and cheesy grits. Starting with the grits. Katie, we got some melted butter in there. You're gonna sweat those scallion whites. I reserved the greens. They're somewhere for the garnish.
Okie doke.
We got some fresh corn. Right off the cob.
Corn in your grits. I mean, grits are corn anyway.
It's cornmeal, people, and I love to kind of bolster that corn flavor with additional fresh corn, and we reserve the cobs. Can anybody guess what we're gonna do with these 2 cobs?
You're gonna milk them.
We're gonna milk them, baby. Did you ever milk a corn cob? No. All right, just scrape it like that.
It with the blade.
Yeah, just like boom, and doing down, and then you could take all that beautiful, that's like pure corn essence.
Delicious.
Pure corn flavor, and you don't want to waste that. Now, let's get to the shrimp. So it's like 35, 40s, they're small, but I love little crispy popcorn shrimp on top of a big bowl of grits. She's got so corn everywhere.
Oh, Katie, I can't let you go out like this. Turn this way. I got you,
No,
girl.
she's good. No, it's good. Now we got some buttermilk we're adding to these shrimp. Get a little salt on there just to kind of slightly marinate. There's a lot of acid in buttermilk. This recipe was inspired by
Nashville hot chicken.
Nashville hot chicken, which it's a great eating town, Nashville. But to kind of make it softer and sweeter, keep it marinating in buttermilk for about 20, 30 minutes. I got one ready to go here.
Wait,
Katie, how's that coming along?
After I saute the corn, I add the milk to it?
A little salt, yeah. And now we can add in just the water for now, and then we're gonna add in the milk in a little bit. Now why don't you take that immersion blender that we love, and we're gonna just kind of puree that up. So you got unadulterated corn stock, if you will, made from fresh corn, which is a great base for that cornmeal or the grits. Now let's make our dredge, some AP flour, some cornstarch.
Okay.
Pop, right? Some baking soda.
Okay.
And some salt. Now you can add your milk and bring it to a simmer. I like a nice white grit, especially with that Nashville hot popcorn shrimp. Now let's get to the Nashville hot part.
Get it.
Right? Anybody guess what this is?
Paprika.
Cayenne pepper.
Oh, that's a lot of cayenne.
That's a lot of cayenne. It's gonna be hot. And a little sweetness with some brown sugar. Some chili powder. Some paprika.
All right now.
This is like clear out the spice rack because you're using a lot.
A lot too, right?
Yes, you should.
Granulated garlic, not powdered garlic.
Come on.
Some salt, and of course, fresh cracked black pepper.
Do it.
All right, and we're gonna poke this a little bit, get it all even. We got our oil going here, perfect 375, right on the money, and that's what we wanna fry this shrimp at. But before we do that, I'm gonna take my bowl of Nashville hot spices.
This is the craziest part about hot chicken. It's like, just take the oil and wake those spices up.
And you know, a lot of the times, that oil has probably been hit about 400 batches of chicken fried in it. So things are happening in that oil, but in this case, look at it's literally frying the spices, instantly blooming it, and you smell it, and it's perfectly seasoned. Now we can take our tongs, take our shrimp. Katie, looking good right there.
We're not at a simmer yet.
And I like to take a couple batches at once and really toss it around there. All right, now we have these beautiful little shrimps we can toss, right? One at a time, look at that. Perfectly coated, shake off the excess, right in there.
Yeah, immediate sizzle.
Immediate snizzle. 375, so you got a pretty decently hot fry here. Golden brown is achieved without overcooking the interior. Let's check out Katie's grits here.
Grits are
She's
beautiful.
been stirring. right? They're looking good, right? Simmer them up, make sure they're nice and thick, and we're gonna make these cheesy grits by adding some white cheddar.
Do it.
Nice sharp cheddar, and a little extra secret, some of that cubed cheese that comes in the foil, shelf stable.
Cheese.
Okay.
Processed cheese.
That's interesting.
And a couple tabs of butter there.
Yeah, baby.
I'm gonna take these, oh, look at that. Beautiful coated popcorn shrimp, ready to get the Nashville hot treatment. And I'm not neglecting all those little floaters right there.
You gotta get them.
You gotta get them, right? Look at that guy. Unbelievable. So only took about 2 minutes per batch here.
Jeff, what do you think of these? They looking
Oh, look at
perfect?
luscious.
Come on now.
Hey, and you know the thing about grits? The minute you put it in the bowl, it starts thickening up
It's gonna
instantly.
tighten up
So
immediately.
you want to keep it just like a skosh loose of what you want to take a bite of, okay? Keep that in mind. Those look beautiful. The cheese is in there, and that'll even thicken it up even more as it comes to...
How's it, Katie? Bam.
She keeps eating it over there. I'm actually nervous.
Y'all,
Is everything
those
okay?
are some good grits.
Right? I'm gonna give you guys the hottest of the hot.
Oh, so you're just painting it on instead of doing a toss.
If you're doing a whole bunch of these at once, whatever, I just like to keep one side crispy just so you have that
it's
texture.
a good way to get some crunch on there.
Oh, go ahead, please.
That's
Fine.
right.
I know.
That's right,
I can
Katie.
sneak
That's
on.
right.
It's like
We're
she
not gonna
hasn't
have
eaten in
none.
days.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Come on, Jeff.
Oh my gosh, Jeff. Wow. Those are
Spicy?
hot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You all right, Katie?
That's why you don't want to dunk them.
Woo.
They'll really knock you out.
Oh, that's pretty, Jeff.
Look at that.
I like your choice of bowl.
Yeah, nice.
Because it's
one.
not really a bowl.
And I got my reserved.
Scallion.
Oh, we needed some veggie on that. Yeah, we needed veggie.
Come on.
Look at that.
That's
All right,
beautiful,
Kaylin, I'm
Jeff.
gonna make this one for you, buddy. Some cheesy
thank
grits.
You so much.
This is when you know you're about to get it in.
You're breaking it down.
I'm breaking it down, Jeff.
Why
It's
you
gonna
breaking it
happen
down?
right here. Because I just
Oh,
want
you
to
get the thing.
scoop in with no resistance.
If you want a little extra
Thank you.
Nashville hot oil, you could serve it on the side, of course.
First of all, your grits are super official, all right? The addition of the fresh corn and then milking it and getting all that luscious corn flavor from the cob, it's next level deliciousness for the grits. The cheese, perfection. Sometimes you have cheesy grits and it's too cheesy.
It's too
Imagine
cheesy.
that, right? It's just too cheesy and you don't get the flavor of the corn. But what you really must try here, if you have never fried your shrimp and dunked them in that Nashville hot sauce that you made, wow. Jeff, it's crunchy, it's flavorful. I don't think it's too spicy. This is definitely right up my alley. Jeff,
wow.
This is gonna happen in my kitchen. Thank you so much for bringing me into shrimp with the hot chicken vibe.
It's game day and we're tailgating at my house. I got my brothers coming over with my nieces and my nephews. I'm making them a surf and turf cheesesteak. I'm adding some crab meat to thinly sliced shaved beef. All right, I'm gonna head over to my griddle and get this cheesesteak going. All right, I got a flat top here. I wanna douse it with a little bit of oil. I'm gonna add some onions. I have about 2 large onions sliced here. I'm gonna cook these onions down before I add my meat. I wanna also season my onions. Add a little Worcestershire sauce, give it a smoky steakhouse flavor. Some soy sauce. While this cooks down, I gotta season my crab meat and make my sauce. I have about a pound of lump crab meat. I'm gonna add seafood seasoning to this. For the most part, I'm gonna cook down that shaved beef with the onions, and right before I put it inside the bread, I'm gonna fold in this crab meat. Oh yeah. Is your mouth watering yet? That's the point. As if this cheesesteak isn't already amazing with that beef and crab meat, I gotta make a special sauce to go on top of it. I mean, this thing is flavorful. I've got some mayo here. The great thing about making sauces from scratch, you eyeball it. You taste it and add and take away whatever as you go. All right, this sauce is called Have Mercy sauce. It's a pretty simple sauce. So I put in a little hot sauce. I'm gonna add some Dijon mustard. Gives it a little tang, that's what I like to say. Some salt and pepper. And I'm going to give it a little taste to see if I need to add anything. I'm ready for this tailgate party. That's good. Just gonna funnel this in my little squeeze bottle here, because I wanna squirt it on top. My onions are starting to cook down. What I like to do is just to sweat them out a little bit more is add some water. Mixing around. Right now I'm gonna add in some shaved beef. Sometimes they have this pre-packaged, but if not, you just go to your butcher and ask them to basically shave some beef for you. Okay. I'm excited about this. I have eaten my fair share of cheesesteaks, and I enjoy making them at home. All right, I'm gonna add a little soy sauce, just a little squirts of that. And I'm gonna switch over now because I know better. I'm gonna use my spat. You gotta. So I'm only cooking the beef until I don't see any more pink. All right, what I like to do is add some cherry peppers. I love cherry peppers. It's a little briny, a little salty, a little vinegary. I like to add that in there for some color. This would be a great time to add that crab meat. Look at that, y'all. This is gonna make more than enough, and that's okay. I'm gonna send them home with something. Last but not least, add this American cheese on top. Get that melted down. The only way to go is white American. The crab, the cheese, the seasoning, some of that special sauce, my Have Mercy sauce is gonna go on top. Why not top these off? Why not top them off? This one needs a little bit more loving. Got my sauce, just gonna put that right on top. Look at that. Low country cheesesteaks.
Seafood casserole. So I have a whole bunch of cooked shrimp that's chopped into little bits, and I'm gonna add some lump crab meat and a little bit of decadence here, some lobster meat right out of the claw. Look at this, it's incredible. Some chopped green bell pepper, bunch of chopped celery, and some sliced green onion. And then I'll just stir this mixture of seafood and veggies until it's all mixed together. So now I'm gonna add some other scrumptious ingredients, a bunch of mayonnaise. You know this recipe is from the 70s when you see this amount of mayonnaise going in. But this is basically the liquid of the casserole. And it's also what makes the casserole so incredible. And then a good spoonful of Dijon mustard, or any sort of grainy mustard. And then just a little touch of sherry. This is optional. In fact, my mom's original recipe did not have sherry in it, but I have found with kind of creamy casseroles like this, just a little touch of sherry gives it the most incredible flavor. And then, of course, bringing it into the current day, dash of hot sauce, a few dashes of Worcestershire. And then for seasoning, I'm gonna add some Old Bay seasoning because it is a seafood casserole, and Old Bay seasoning was made for seafood. And then salt, and you wanna add plenty of black pepper, a couple of good sprinkles. All right, now I've got to mix all this together. Now, the casserole goes into the casserole dish. Now, look how creamy this is. But I would like to point out that there is no cheese in this casserole. What is the world coming to? What's gotten into me? I don't even recognize myself. So I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap. And then I'm gonna pop it in the fridge for an hour. I'm gonna top the whole thing with potato chips. Yeehaw! These are just regular, straight up potato chips, crushed. They're not like finely crushed to a crumb. They're still in big chunks. And as you can see, I am being very, very generous. The recipe says 1 bag of potato chips. Never mind that bags of potato chips now are probably 3 times the size as they were in the 70s. But you know what? I like to follow instructions. It's the recipe's fault. All right, so I'm gonna put this into a 350-degree oven, and I'll bake it for about 30 minutes until it's nice and bubbly. It's all seafood. It's shrimp, crab meat, and lobster mixed with a creamy mixture. I'll give you a little parsley on yours.
I'm just going for it.
I am too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh. This is a
special.
Yeah, this is a throwback.
I've got a simple yet elegant packet dinner with my halibut en papillote.
En papillote.
Okay, so I'm all about, this is a very old technique. It's just cooking in paper, and this is parchment paper. And guess what? There's very little cleanup. It's a great way to do fish. I recommend doing white fish like this halibut. Sea bass, halibut, red snapper,
Flounder.
salmon, flounder, all work. It's a great way to keep the flavor and the moisture and all the juices in the fish, right? Makes its own sauce. So we're gonna lay it out like this, and I have very thin leeks, very thin fennel, and very thin lemon. Very simple, okay? First of all, I'm gonna season the paper with salt and pepper, because you wanna have the underneath seasoned, right? Right?
Want to hit up that undercarriage with the good stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna put a little bit of fennel.
So much flavor.
A little bit
So
of...
what's the idea? You want to cut everything as thin as it takes
so
the
it cooks
fish
fast.
to cook.
Yes. And then my secret to this is a little something I'm gonna make right now. It's called a tapenade.
Tapenade. Ooh.
So we have olives, capers, garlic, anchovy. Boom. A lot of salt right here, okay? Be
You
careful
mean
with salt.
all the built-in salt, you don't bother to season this?
No, not with the olives, capers, and anchovy. Those are 3 salt bombs right there. I do put pepper and a good amount of oil. I make this all the time. It makes everything better. I smother lamb chops in it, which is fantastic.
I put
Grill
a
them.
tiny shot of whiskey in mine and I let
Whoa,
it sit in the fridge.
Well, we certainly have whiskey in our house, so I'm gonna do that next time, Alice. I'm gonna steal that idea. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna buzz it up. See how quick that was? That was 14 seconds. Needs a little bit more oil, and we are done.
What
This
kind of
store is
olives
fantastic.
do you like?
Kalamata. It's just brine. You need the brine, you know? And if you want to throw some caper juice in there, you can, but keep it simple. Some people put parsley in. I don't do that. I don't put parsley because the parsley sort of goes bad.
Yeah, that'll stay for a long time. It's all
don't put
brine,
parsley in it.
preserved things. Look
So,
at that.
that's
all
it, right?
flavor.
So this is the secret weapon in cooking fish. This is a white fish, so it needs some help in the flavor, in the flavor department. So we're just gonna put a drizzle of this on top, not on top of the fish. We wanna damage the integrity of the whiteness of the fish, right?
Oh my God, look at you.
Look at this dollop down.
See, I would have put that right on the fish, but that's so much smarter.
Remember the salt on the bottom, the salt on the top, and that, so we're really doing a lot of salting here without salting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well,
a little salt on top, a little pepper. And now we get to it. What do? You just have fun. So we're just gonna go like this. We're just gonna start turning the edges.
This is just regular parchment off the roll.
Other
I mean,
side.
could you use foil with this? I think
I wouldn't.
It,
It adds some metallic taste to it. I wouldn't use the foil. The foil's okay, but you can't present the foil, you know, because a piece of foil gets in your filling, you know, it's not good.
Ooh, it zings you.
So before this is closed, a touch of Vino Blanco.
Oh, see, I thought you forgot it, but you
Nope.
did. You did it. It's strategically. It's a little strategery.
And there you have.
Looks like a panzerotti.
This goes in an oven, 400 degrees. It's gonna cook relatively quickly. Hence the thin fish, the thin vegetables, everything, for about 8 to 10 minutes. But you gotta check it, but don't worry, it's gonna be good, I think.
I mean, this is a very light meal, perfect for spring.
8 to 10 minutes, gonna take it out.
Mm-mm.
Oh, look at,
I
so
love
it
it
gets
when
a little ugly, right?
yeah, it
That's
gets a
what you
little
want.
burnt.
That's ugly beautiful.
I don't think that's ugly at all.
So we're just gonna put it here.
I just realized you could make this whole thing in the morning and come home and throw it in the oven.
Oh, good.
Imagine.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put it right on a plate, and that's how you're gonna serve it.
So hot. It's like alive.
And so I have a little Calabrian chili.
So good.
At the table, you usually take it like this, and then you can either have them open it up like this, or the fun way is to just cut it like this and watch what's gonna happen. Watch what's gonna come out at the top.
There's a prize in there? Do you sneak a prize in there, like a temporary tattoo?
It's like a box of cereal.
Look at that. It's just the
Spider
steam.
ring?
The steam comes up.
Beautiful.
Oh, look
We're gonna
at
hit
that.
it with a little of this chili oil, just on
Keep
top
it all
here.
contained in that papillote, too.
And then a little
There it is.
tear of basil. Yeah. And there you have it. Halibut en papillote. So I'm gonna go in with a piece of that chili, the salt. Look at the cookage on that.
Oh, so perfect cook.
Perfect. I'm gonna go in.
This is like steamed poached braised all in one. I might serve that with a loaf of bread, mop up all those juices.
I think that I kind of have to.
That chili is just what it needs. It's getting down into the leeks, the tapenade. It's all a beautiful, beautiful marriage.
Old-fashioned chowders are sort of a staple of American burger joints. Classic is clam chowder, but I particularly love seafood chowder. All different kinds of seafood in it. There are a lot of ingredients here, but it's really easy, believe me, and it's worth it. So the first ingredient is shrimp. They're peeled and deveined. Makes it so much easier. I need 1 pound. The next thing is scallops. I need a ½ pound. And I want everything about the same size so it cooks at the same amount of time. And lump crab meat, also about a ½ pound. Perfect. And the last thing is monkfish. It's a really firm white fish, and it's fantastic for chowder because it doesn't like break up and get flaky. So I've got a ½ pound of monkfish. I'm just gonna give it a big dice, about the size of the scallops. I also make vegetarian chowders, like corn chowder, but this was a classic at Bear Contessa when I had a store. We used to make so much of it, it was crazy. Okay, that's the monkfish. And since the scallops are actually sea scallops, not bay scallops, which are small, I'm just gonna cut them in half. Just want them in bite-sized pieces. Just right in half. If they're really big, you can cut them in quarters, but these are just the right size. Okay, now all the fish is gonna go into the pot, and I've got all the vegetables cooking away. Let me tell you what I have in here. First, I melted 1/4 pound of butter in a big Dutch oven. Then, I added a cup of peeled and medium diced carrots. That's about 4 carrots. Then, I added a ½ cup of medium diced yellow onion, a cup of medium diced celery, a cup of medium diced small potatoes, white or red, either one's fine. Then ½ cup of corn kernels. You can use fresh or frozen, whichever you have. And finally, I sauteed them all together for 15 minutes, just until the potatoes are barely cooked. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of flour, and what that's gonna do is thicken the chowder and cook it for about 3 minutes, just to get rid of that sort of raw flour taste. Let it mix in with all the juices from the vegetables. Okay, that's ready. Next is the stock. So I have a quart of seafood stock. You can either make it yourself with the shrimp shells, or you can just buy it from your seafood shop. So I'm just gonna pour it right in with the vegetables and the flour, and it's gonna cook for just a minute. Bring it to a boil. Very often recipes like this say you can substitute clam juice, so I tried it once just to see. You can't. It doesn't have the same flavor. Okay, I'm just gonna lower the heat on this. Next, the seafood. So I've got all the shrimp and crab meat and scallops. I'm just gonna put it all in. I want to make sure that the heat is on low, because you don't want to cook protein at a high temperature. You want to cook it at a low temperature so it stays really tender. That's particularly true about seafood. This is going to cook for about 7 to 10 minutes until all the monkfish and shrimp and scallops are all cooked. Just fold it in carefully. So the key is to not stir this too much. You don't want the fish to break up, so I'm going to let it simmer away slowly while I get some parsley ready. I need about 2 tablespoons of parsley. Just nice to have a little something green and fresh in a soup. Just big rough chop. Now, parsley's always thought of as just a garnish, but the truth is, it's got great flavor, particularly the flat leaf kind. Okay, let's see how the seafood is doing. It's perfectly cooked. The shrimp are pink. You can really tell when it's done. And they're firm. And 2 tablespoons of cream, just to get a little richness. 2 tablespoons of parsley, and lots of salt and pepper. This really brings out all the flavor of all the different seafoods and the stock and the vegetables. Lots of pepper. Give it a little heat and a big stir. And that seafood chowder. This looks so amazing. It smells even better. Wait till you see it. Just all kinds of crab meat and shrimp and fish. A little bit of parsley on top always makes it look better. I have to say, I really do love any kind of a seafood stew or chowder. That is really good. You can taste all the flavors. They're really distinct, but they all blend really well together. I'd say this is good enough. It's going to be on your menu for a while.
Let's talk calamari for a second. So, you know, this is what squid looks like, okay? And they're actually very easy to clean. Now, basically, you separate the head from the body, okay? We're gonna cut where the tentacles meet the eye. You just have the head, so to speak, but it's just basically the tentacles, all right? And then with the body, what you wanna do is actually peel it, and the skin comes right off. When people are frying calamari, very often you'll see them, cut these into rings like this, okay? But what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to make a slice like this and open it up so it's like a calamari steak. I score it with a knife so it doesn't actually shrivel up. Okay, and there's our calamari. What we're gonna do is make a very quick marinade for both the squid and the calamari. We're gonna use some lemon juice and some olive oil. And I think we need some garlic for this too, definitely. Okay, I just kind of like to beat up the garlic with my knife a little bit, and then take some kosher salt, and then just kind of crush it with the side of my knife. So garlic, lemon juice, olive oil. All right, we're gonna put some of the shrimp and the squid right in here. Just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Not a long time. We don't wanna marinate the fish for too long because then it actually breaks down its texture. All right, so we have some of the shrimp, and then we're gonna also take some of the calamari. And then we have the squid steak, so to speak. Let's go to the grill. Okay, we have a nice hot grill here, and we're gonna put the shrimp right next to the shrimp. Everybody's gonna have their own department. And we're gonna take our squid heads, and then our squid steaks. And be careful, you just wanna lay these on very carefully. Okay, well, the shrimp are probably gonna take about 2.5 minutes on each side. Okay, they're pretty thick, and we want them to be cooked all the way through. The squid heads are probably gonna take about maybe 30 seconds on each side, and the squid steak, so to speak, will probably take about 10 to 15 seconds on each side, and they go very quickly. We'll take a look at our shrimp. You see how beautiful they are? All right, so we're gonna take these squid steaks are done. Okay, these are ready. All right, now we can plate this beautiful salad here. We're gonna leave it right on the skewers. There's lots of squid, lots of shrimp. And let's just grill a couple of lemons. Straight onto the grill. All right, so while those lemons are cooking, we can take our beautiful smoked tomato and black olive relish and kind of just drop it right on top of our shellfish here. And then we're just gonna take a little bit of Greek olive oil. So we got our grilled lemons. And I just take one and I just kind of squeeze it right on top of the, oh, this is amazing.
I am making my famous Southern mac and cheese, but I'm adding sweet blue crab. You can't get any better than that. So I boiled the crabs for about 10 minutes, picked the meat, and now I'm gonna saute it. Putting in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna add onions and garlic to this. And I'm going to saute this for a few minutes until the onions get translucent. So when the garlic and onion have wilted down and become translucent, I'm gonna add in the crab meat, and you want some of the crab to stick to the pan as well. I just think it's so cool when you're eating the macaroni and cheese and you get that big lump of crab meat. It's like a gift. Now that the crab is ready, and I still got kind of some of that burnt stuff in there that I wanted, I'm going to transfer the crab back into the original bowl that I took it from. And I'm going to use sherry to deglaze the pan, which is just fancy for saying take the good stuff from off the bottom. So I'm gonna use about 1/2 cup. Woo, baby. I'm gonna start on my roux. 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna let that melt. I'm gonna also add in flour. That's the start of a roux. A roux has butter and flour, or some type of fat and flour. And I'm gonna whisk in 1 tablespoon. The roux is basically the start of a bechamel sauce, which basically is a elevated cheese sauce, okay? And the reason I'm using a whisk is because we don't want lumps in our roux. You see that color? It's everything from the pan, and as you see, we deglazed all of that brown stuff that normally you would think, oh, it's time to wash the pot. Don't you wash that pot. Deglaze it. Now we're gonna add in a pint of heavy cream. We're gonna start building our roux and our cheese sauce. That's good. Now I'm gonna use about 1 cup of regular whole milk, okay? I haven't added the cheese yet, but just the smell of the sherry and the garlic and all of the stuff that was in the pan that was left, oh my goodness. Now I have 4 ounces of shredded Gruyere, Parmesan, and about 8 ounces of shredded extra sharp yellow cheddar. These cheeses just work really, really well together. You get a good, funky, sharp taste from the Gruyere cheese, and we're gonna leave some sharp cheddar because we're gonna top it with more cheddar. And I'm gonna slide in that Parmesan. Just give it a whisk. 2 teaspoons of dry mustard. Dry mustard just gives us this really great bite. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And the smoked paprika gives it a nice little smoky flavor. So I'm gonna also add in salt and pepper. Not only are we getting a bite from the mustard, we're getting a bite from the pepper. I'm adding in some freshly chopped parsley, thyme, and tarragon. And that's just gonna balance out all of the sharpness. I'm gonna let that cheese sauce simmer. I've already boiled 1 pound of pasta. It's basically just 1 box. And I have drained it. I did reserve about 1 cup of pasta water. I'm not gonna use the entire cup, but I did save a bit because of the starch. It's gonna help as a binding agent to keep the macaroni and cheese together. I mean, it's still a casserole, so you still have to have some type of structure. I am going to add this glorious cheese sauce directly in the pot with the pasta. Ooh, yes. Just give it a stir. And did you forget about the crab meat? I didn't. We're gonna add in the sauteed crab meat with the onions and the garlic. Cheese, crab meat, fresh herbs. Oh my goodness. You can't go wrong. I wanna add in 4 ounces of cream cheese just to make it a little creamier. And remember, we had 4 ounces of cheddar we let sit to the side for a very good reason. The cheese, let's give it a nice little crust on top. There we go. That looks delicious. I'm gonna pop it in the oven at 375 for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it gets nice and brown on top.
Grilled seafood cioppino. But let's talk about this marinade. A monster bowl, a bounty of lemon juice, some salt. Don't have to go too heavy on the salt. Granted, it all came out of the sea. Black pepper. Let's get in with a little garlic, and I'm just gonna rough chop that garlic. This will break down. It'll share its flavor. Little white wine. And another one of my favorites when it comes to seafood is some capers. They couldn't make the jar any smaller, and they start falling all over the place, okay? Just like I do with the garlic, just give it a little pop, just to kind of open it up a bit. And last but not least, you think of the spice. Man, I've been to some Cioppino feeds, woo! I mean, it is all spice. So we'll just add a little bit of chili flake to this, and then to coat it all, to help all this great flavor stick to this seafood, a little bit of olive oil. Okay, let me give this a quick whisk. Now, I'll turn this a few times as I let it marinate. But what we're gonna do right now, we'll drop that nice big piece of halibut in there. That's what we're talking about. Then we'll get those scallops in. Beautiful. We'll throw in, I'm gonna pop that crab in half just like that. Excellent. The other one, look at this, and this is so fresh. Here we go. Down inside, and then we'll throw prawns that will take it real quick. So grab this and a little foil, and we'll go back, because what do you want? You want your seafood nice and cold. So we'll throw a little cover on top of that. All right. All right, grab a tray, because I'm gonna put a little marinade on these as we work. So the first thing I'm gonna start off with is a bunch of Roma tomatoes. Last of the Romas. Tomato sauce and Cioppino, hand in hand. Next up, red bell pepper. red bell pepper, and a big onion. One more, the fennel. The key here is to keep these fronds. We'll hold those to the side. Okay, fennel, there's that. Now, check this out. Hit a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, touch of some black pepper. Believe it or not, we're gonna hit it with a little fennel. Fennel's a strong flavor in this Cioppino. Okay, with a little fennel seeds. And we'll hit it with a little red chili flake. Again, spice is a key piece as well. Start to throw the fennel on. Throw the peppers. Just keep an eye on it. And you know, here's the cool thing about this. This is one of those things that you can grill. You don't have to worry about how ugly it looks because this is all gonna get pureed up. So if it has a little extra char to it, fantastic. That's a little extra flavor. Look at that. Kind of slide them on. Oh, tell me it doesn't look great already. And to think this is all going to come together for a seafood dish, I'm going to make this fantastic Cioppino. I've got a bunch of seafood that's in the fridge right now. And this right here, well, this is the Cioppino sauce. You don't typically see it as a fire roasted Cioppino sauce, but I'll tell you something, we're going to highlight that seafood incredibly with this. A little bit of chicken stock. Drop this on. Now I took the seeds and the stems out of the bell pepper, but otherwise, everybody's in there. Look at all that char and all those bits. All right, that's my kind of Cioppino sauce. Fire roasted, right on. There we go. And if it gets too thick, I got a little chicken stock to thin it out. All right, awesome. Roasted garlic's down. Now, this is where this kind of gets into some decision-making process. What do I want to add first? Well, I've got the hard shell of the crab, and it's pretty industrial. I mean, it can handle the heavy heat. So I'm going to throw that on first. The shrimp, they're protected also with their shell, these prawns, so I'm going to go ahead and throw those on. Look at that. Okay. And here we go. I'm going to put the fish on. It'll probably go on last and come off first. Nestle that right in on top of there. And then I'm just gonna hold those scallops for a little bit. I'll put those on at the last minute. So I'm just trying to finish up this fantastic Cioppino sauce. Add a little ouzo there because if you've had a good Cioppino, you know it's got some spice, it's got some garlic, and it's got a nice little anise flavor. Okay, and we'll take this, I'm gonna pour it right onto my platter here. Now, some beautiful halibut. This all marinated, by the way. Leave that right there. Take these beautiful scallops, lay those around the side. And I just want these super, super tender because they're gonna sit inside that hot sauce. I mean, look at that. Tell me that is not gorgeous. Look at that. Get a little bit of the sauce. Just drop a little bit on top of this. I mean, it's gorgeous. A little more, the basil, some of the fennel fronds that I had. Okay, first I gotta dig into some polenta. A little bit of this halibut. And then, when you wanna get your crab, I'm a body meat guy. So you dip it right in there. This Dungeness crab. Of all the crab that I have, I mean from king crab, snow crab, you can tell I don't like it. This is the one to go to.
Scallops Provencal. I love making these. I know they're really fresh. Geoffrey and I just got them. It's about 1 pound of scallops, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just salt and pepper them. Sometimes people salt and pepper the flour, but I think it never really gets into the scallops, so I'm gonna salt and pepper them first and then flour them. So, 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Lots of pepper. A little flour. And what the flour is gonna do is gonna sear the scallops really nicely, but it's also gonna get into the sauce, so it's gonna thicken the butter and lemon sauce. Okay. 2 tablespoons of butter. Just gonna put the scallops in one layer. I'm gonna cook them on medium heat for about 2 minutes, and then I'll turn them and add lots of flavor. In the meantime, I'm gonna chop up some shallots. So 2 big shallots. Sometimes when I'm making this for a dinner party, I get all the ingredients all prepped in advance, and the whole thing just takes 5 minutes in the pan. I'm just gonna turn the scallops. Perfect, they're nice and browned. And see, the browning sort of sears them, gives them lots of flavor. Okay, that's gonna cook for another 2 minutes, and I'm just gonna chop up some garlic. So I'm going to chop up these ingredients and then just add them to the pan and make a sauce with butter and white wine. It's going to be just delicious. And in order for it to be really Provencal, parsley. So I need about 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. How bad can that be? Okay, just a rough chop. Okay, now for the sauce. I've got all my ingredients ready. So I'm just going to put 2 tablespoons of butter in. I'm going to put in the shallots, the garlic, and parsley, 1/4 cup of parsley. And just saute this all together so you can smell the garlic and the shallots and parsley together. Just about 2 minutes on the saute pan. And then 1/3 cup of white wine, and that's going to get all the brown bits in the bottom of the pan into the sauce. Just choose a nice dry white wine, something you'd want to drink with a meal, and then serve it with a dinner. Okay, that's really it. It's just perfect. Okay, I'm just going to leave that for a minute while I get some herbs for the rice. And dinner's ready. Time to serve everything up.
Shrimp and grits is a staple item in the Low Country, especially at brunch. You can eat it brunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever. We eat shrimp and grits all day long. While my bacon is frying, I'm going to get started on my grits. I'm using old-fashioned grits, 2 cups. Old-fashioned grits are less processed than quick grits, so it takes a little longer to cook. These are the grits that my grandmother grew up on. She still uses old-fashioned grits. I like quick grits, of course, because if you're in a rush, quick grits can cook within like 5 minutes, but old-fashioned grits take about 20 minutes to cook. And the reason I whisk the grits as I pour it in, because grits lump up very quickly. If you serve a lumpy grit to anybody in the South, your name will be the talk of the town. Once it starts to boil, you'll bring it down to a simmer, and if you don't salt your water now, you'll have some really bland grits at the end. Well, you see me over here getting started on this shrimp and grits.
Yes,
I need your help.
Okay.
Okay, just wash your hands.
You got my help.
You can smell it all the way down the street, right?
I know.
Can you help me with the onions?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I know that's right.
It smells so good in here, Kardea. This girl is making my favorite.
You know, I was thinking, where do shrimp and grits come from?
Definitely Charleston, but you know, everybody makes shrimp and grits so different, you know. And I think we all just added our own flavor. You have to have fresh shrimp.
How can you eat shrimp and grits without Charleston shrimp?
Girl, I don't care if you got to go out in the creek all day long. I'm telling you, you need fresh shrimp with shrimp and gravy. Yeah, I think people actually want to take the quick way out, but because I love cooking, I like to take the great way out.
All right.
Yes.
Slow way is the great way.
I think we got enough onions before I start boo-hooing in here, girl.
Okay, well, yeah, that's enough.
Yes.
This pan is nice and brown, so that's gonna give me a good dark gravy. You put that in there?
Yes, I'll go ahead and add that in for you. Yeah, oh yeah. That's gonna make a really good gravy right there. That's actually the biggest key to making it as well.
You gotta get that pan nice and dirty.
Yes.
And I need a little bit of flour. Can you stir around the grits for me too?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Kardea, what kind of grits do you use?
I'm using old-fashioned grits today.
Oh, really?
Using old-fashioned grits, it just holds up a lot better. You know, it's nice and thick.
If the grits is thicker, then I won't need extras.
No, you're right,
I won't need a second help.
Right.
You know?
It'll stick to your bones. That's what my girl said.
I used to tell my children, honey, it's gonna stick to your gizzard.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Oh, yeah, this is coming along really good. That looks good over there, Kardea.
Yeah, it's coming together.
Okay, look at you.
See, I learned a thing or two. Y'all taught me well.
You did, I'm telling you. It looks really good.
Just gonna cook this down till the onions get a little translucent. And while I do that, can you put a little flour in the shrimp and some salt, pepper, and garlic powder? We like to add flour to our shrimp just to get it a little crispy.
I love brunch. I eat brunch every single day.
And you make a good hefty brunch.
Yes, I do.
You do?
You have some left over for dinner.
Sometimes the oil will cook out of the onions in the skillet. It's okay to add a little bit more. I'm using canola oil. I'm gonna brown the shrimp, and that's where you get the distinguished color of Gullah shrimp.
Did you remember to freeze the ice cubes, the coffee ice cubes? Yeah.
What are we doing with that?
Well, don't worry about that. I just want to make sure that you did it.
Okay, I did it. Start with the grits when you know.
I sure can.
You know, we can't have any lumps in that grits.
That's right.
Add some water to this pot now. That's when the gravy begins.
I love the sound of sizzle.
With Gullah food and low country food, we like to build layers of flavor.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of our food, it's a process.
You want to take your time on something like this, you know?
I've always just known how to make shrimp and grits Gullah style, but what do you think makes it Gullah?
The brown gravy. Yes.
Try that.
Girl.
Make sure that brown gravy is right.
I love the onion flavor, the garlic in there. I love it. Now, what's going to really set it off is when you add the bacon. Yes.
Take the same bacon that I use to get that bacon grease in the beginning. All those flavors, the bacon, the shrimp, the gravy.
It's going to really boost that taste.
Everything's ready.
Ooh, that looks so good.
I'm ready to eat. Can you cut up some green onions for me?
I sure can. I came hungry.
Okay.
Like very hungry.
I'll give you a good serving.
Please do.
And look how thick and creamy slides right off the spoon.
Oh, yes. That plate is too cute.
You did good, girlfriend. You hungry?
Do you really have to ask that?
Let's go.
Let's go eat. Can't wait to try this. Party, hey. It's nice and creamy. The seasoning is just perfect. Love it.
Sheet panned blackened salmon with a little garlicky kale that is gonna keep you home for dinner.
Good. Save the money and the calories, too.
Right. So speaking of calories, by the way, I always try to be a little judicious with the olive oil when making a dish like this. Because the salmon is rich, you don't need a lot of olive oil. Those type of calories really add up. I want to save some calories for dessert.
Yeah, there you go.
So I have 4 8-ounce portions of salmon. You could do smaller portions, or you could do a piece.
I think 6 ounces of protein, personally, is where you want to be. Don't you?
I do, but 8 ounces of salmon just looks so good.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
does, but it is hard to eat a lot of salmon. You
It
can't
is.
like
It's
overeat
rich, I mean.
salmon. Like you hit that 7th ounce and you're like, woof.
Yeah.
Let's just see how dinner turns out, folks.
All right. Well, we're both, we're a little nervous.
We're hoping it's...
We're gonna start with a little salt right on top. And I'm using kosher salt here. It's a weeknight, you know? We're not getting out the pink Himalaya salt on Wednesday. And then we're gonna kind of mimic the idea of blackening by mixing together some spices that are found in a classic blackening spice mix. Blackened fish, made traditionally, is dipped in clarified butter and then dipped in really spicy spices mixed with garlic, and that's what makes it stick. And then you cook it in a roaring hot pan. I kind of want to just take the essence of the blackening, which is some cayenne and paprika mixed together, and that's quite a bit of heat, right? Mixed with some garlic and dry mustard powder, one of my favorite spices. I love it so much. And then we're just gonna use a sifter, and this gives it a nice even layer, right? So every bite has a bit of spice distributed all over it. You don't have any clumps of overly spicy spices.
I love the even coating of the spice on there. That's
I like the
brilliant. I've never really done that.
I do that with a little drone.
You do it? Do you have a Zakarian drone? So you see, this really mimics the idea of blackening, and then literally the salt, the spices, We just arrange that right on your oiled tray. Leave a little space in between each piece of salmon so they get an opportunity to brown a little bit, right? And then what I love is you're just thinking, okay, this could almost be dinner right then and there. But we're gonna add to it a little bit of kale. I've got the equivalent of about 1 bunch of Tuscan kale here, ripped up in the pieces. You can leave them a little bit big because they're along for the ride with the salmon, so they're gonna cook a good 12 to 15 minutes, even longer if you like your salmon well done. Now here's the interesting thought about kale. I've torn most of the chewy ribs out of the center of these pieces of kale. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of olive oil, a couple tablespoons, pinch of salt, and just give it a quick massage. Interestingly enough, we talk about massaged kale salads, right? Where you add vinegar and you're supposed to let it sit on there. And they always say the vinegar, the acid makes the kale wilt and get kind of droopy. It's actually the oil soaking into the cuticles of the kale that makes the kale more tender. It's not the vinegar or the acid. The vinegar, the lemon juice bounces off the kale. It's getting the oil inside the kale that really gets it more tender. So you don't even need any acid.
Cuticles. Never knew kale had cuticles.
It does. Cuticle has a, cute. Kale has, name, personality.
Oh, what's that?
Cuticles. Couple cloves of just chopped up garlic, and then we literally just, and this, to me, it's also just so inviting. It just looks like it's gonna be fantastic. And if this is a little bit generous on the portion, honestly, I love eating this just chilled the next day, almost like you would a little scoop of tuna salad. Instead, you have some of this leftover salmon. I just sprinkle any garlic left in the bowl on there shamelessly. And then just a little sprinkle over top of some dried oregano.
I like it that you put it on the end. I think it's more pronounced.
Okay, and this just goes right into a 400-degree oven. And you just cook it as long as you want your salmon to be cooked. So medium rare, I'm thinking 12 to 15 minutes. More well done, leave it in there for 20. The kale can hang. And you just get happiness, which I love. Little lime zest right on top.
That's an Iron Chef trick.
Yeah, just wake it up a little bit. You could totally use a lemon, by the way, but I kind of prefer that kind of more floral and almost bitter note from lime. And then I literally just cut it and just squeeze some lime right over the fish. Not so much over the kale, but we really want it to be over the fish.
You could just serve it on that, right to the table.
Yeah, right in the middle of the table.
Stack of plates, have at it.
And by the way, I know we have
Paper.
lots of fancy equipment to get lime juices out. I love to kind of dig in there with my hands and just get a little bit of that pulp from the lime on there too.
I think the kale this way is really delightful. It also has its character intact. Sometimes it gets so cooked you can't taste it. It gets that metallic taste.
Like the kale chips, It turns into nothing.
Nothing. So I love the texture in this.
So I have a fish purveyor who puts honey on all his fish, and I thought that was just ridiculous. I'd never cooked a piece of fish. The tiniest. You don't even know.
What'd you just do? I don't even know. I didn't say nothing.
I don't know. Did you see it?
No, and I know, I know a lot of chef friends of mine. They drizzle a little really good sherry vinegar on the top.
Can you hear the kale, the crunch of it rustling right on top? Look at that, so pretty. And like you said, put the tray in the middle of the table on a trivet and dinner is served. Wednesday, you have to get dinner on quick before someone thinks about, some egg rolls and dumplings, because I go there pretty quickly.
That looks good.
This is so good.
Real good.
I mean, you really only need a fork. You barely need a knife to eat this.
Oh.
Really taste that salmon, but then you get those spices and the kale. Cooked enough, tender.
So I'm gonna make lobster mac and cheese, and it starts with a sauce. The French call it a roux, which sounds really fancy. It's not. Start with butter, 6 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just gonna melt that. And then later I'm gonna add some flour for thickener. Okay, the next thing is heating up a quart of milk. And what this does is thicken the sauce. When I add the cheese and the pasta, it gives a nice thick mac and cheese, classic mac and cheese. And then I'm gonna mix into the butter half a cup of flour. And the thing about making a roux or white sauce is you want the flour to cook for a minute or two so it doesn't have that sort of raw flour taste. Okay, milk looks like it's hot, just under simmering. Just gonna pour it in. And now I'm gonna stir it until it gets nice and thick. So this is white sauce, that's it. It's just thickened milk, and it's gonna make fantastic mac and cheese. Okay, I'm gonna turn the heat off next to the cheese. That's the good part. So that's about 2 cups of grated cheddar, and I'm going to do 4 cups of grated Gruyere. Just cut it so it fits in the feed tube, just like that. Okay, into the pan with lots of flavorings. I just think it's going to go so well with lobster. That's a lot of cheese. It makes 8 servings. 1 tablespoon of salt. I use kosher salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. Give it a little heat. And half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Sort of a classic French gratin seasoning. Just so it brings out the nuttiness of the cheeses. Stir that together. This is gonna be really good mac and cheese. Okay, next I need some pasta. Once it's drained, it goes right back into the sauce and cheese. Yeah, okay. This is delicious. All the pasta and the cheese, and wait till I put lobster in. It's gonna get even better. Okay, I'm gonna cut up 1.5 pounds of lobster. So I'm gonna leave some of the big pieces whole, and then the really big ones I'm gonna chop up. Okay, all this is just gonna go right into the pot. This may be one of my favorite dishes of all time. So good. Big stir. Okay, now I'm gonna get the topping ready. First I need some melted butter. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. So these are breadcrumbs, it's really fresh bread that I just ground up in the food processor. And what this is gonna do is when it's in the oven, it's gonna get brown and crusty. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this right on top. Into the oven, 375 degrees for 30 minutes, and they're gonna be bubbly and crusty on the top. It's gonna be so good. Lobster mac and cheese. Now, I don't know anybody that wouldn't want that for dinner. Wow, it smells fantastic.
Crispy beer-battered fry fluke with a little jalapeno aioli. I'm using fluke. I have about 1.5 pounds here. Most whitefishes like this are very mild. I'm just gonna cut them in half because I want them to be relatively large, not like, you know, fish nuggets, so to speak. But speaking of nuggets, you could use the batter that I'm gonna show you how to make, and you could fry chicken with it too.
Perfect. Chicken nuggets is a staple in my household. Could you use another type of fish for this?
Absolutely, but I would stick to flakier style fish. Like I wouldn't do this with swordfish, but fluke, halibut, cod. I'll set this over here, give my hands a wash, and we'll start working on our batter. So I have 3 cups of instant flour. It's a very finely milled flour, perfect for tempuras or fish batters or anything that you want crunchy.
Could you use a different kind?
You could. The best flour to use probably would be rice flour, also a great frying flour. The thing with rice flour is you're not gonna get that golden brown, or you could use equal parts all-purpose flour and then the other half use cornstarch, and you're still gonna get a very crunchy batter. I'm gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of baking powder. To that, I'm gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a tablespoon of cornstarch, amping up the crunchiness. That's what the cornstarch brings to the party. And then any kind of favorite rub or seasoning. I'm just using a seafood rub. And mix this all together just so it's nice and even. Now the wet part of the batter is really easy. It's eggs and beer.
You're cooking with beer. Wait, what is that?
So well, beer brings the fizz, beer lightens it up. If you don't want beer or you're making this for your kids and you want to eliminate the beer maybe from that, although the alcohol cooks out as it fries, you could use ginger ale, you could use soda water, you could use seltzer, and also beer and sodas have a little bit of natural, you know, some natural, some not natural sugars in them. And so that's gonna give you a little bit of goldenness. Now, this calls for about 20 ounces of beer, which works out great for me because that's 1 full beer and about 3/4 of another beer. And you need to reserve 4 ounces of beer, which is your treat for cooking for everyone. We whisk this together. See the fizz, Liv?
Yep.
From the beer. So that fizz is gonna help our batter remain very light so we get this really crunchy batter on our fish. So the wet goes into the dry. I just get it going with a little bit, and then I add the remainder, and then it's just a little bit easier to whisk through.
Oh, and I see all the little fizzy bubbles.
Yeah, and we're just making sure that our batter is nice and smooth now. So the batter's ready, the fish is cut. Next, we can start frying our fish. So one of the important things before we fry the fish, though, is we want to make sure that they're dry. We want that batter to adhere, because I'm not going flour, batter. This is just straighten the batter and out. So I'm just gonna take some paper towels, and I'm gonna dab the top of the fish just to ensure that they're nice and dry.
And if I was doing this with chicken, would I do the same thing?
Yeah, you always want the protein to be dry. And then we're gonna season them with some kosher salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, and we do the same exact thing on the other side. And then we are in a good place to start frying. So now we want to check our oil. We should be at about 360 degrees. If it's a little hot, I always keep oil on the side so I could cool the oil down. We're at 370, which actually isn't bad, because as I add the fish, the temperature of the oil is gonna come down a little bit. If you don't have a thermometer, what you could do is you could just take a little tail piece of the fish and cut it off and do a tester to see where you are. So you could see how the oil's alive, it's moving, that oil's ready to go. So now I'm gonna just start battering all of my seafood.
And if you're doing this inside on the stovetop, what is it set to?
Well, it's more about the temperature of the oil. So whatever temperature you need to set your stovetop to get it to that 360-ish is what you're looking for. So we go in with the batter. We just batter the fish, and you can see it's just coating it really nice. And what I like to do is I like to put a couple pieces in there and get them coated. I grab a fork, I move over to my oil, and I'm just gonna pull out a piece of fish, let some of that excess batter drip away, and then gently lay it in my oil. Don't be worried about the heat of the oil and drop it from above to try to be safer. It's actually more dangerous that way because it's gonna splash. So you just gently put it in and remove it with the fork. And this is a good way to do it because you let the batter run off, and you go right in, and you could see how the batter's puffing up? Mm-hmm. The reason it's puffing like that is because of we put in the beer and because we have the baking soda and the baking powder, which gives us this beautiful lift on our batter. It's getting golden brown. As it's getting golden brown, that fish is cooking all the way through. So we're gonna let those continue to fry. You can see these are beautiful. They're golden brown. That oil is still moving and happy, which means that we maintained our 360 degrees. So I'm just gonna pull these off, let that oil kind of drip away, go away.
Fry those right up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put them in a little bit of flour and salt and pepper and crisp them up a little bit. And so it's just a fun little garnish, flavorful garnish. I love a fried lemon too. I was thinking, Lizzie, like a little tartar sauce aioli situation for our fish. And I have some pickled jalapenos. So I'm gonna throw those in your aioli. And then I have a garlic clove here peeled for you. I'm gonna season the flour for our garnish. I'm just gonna do flour, salt, and pepper. And then I'm gonna put my lemons and parsley in here and just give them a quick little toss. When you put stuff like this in, you gotta be a little bit cautious.
Ooh, hello.
Oh, the mustard's winning.
So in this aioli, we have pickled jalapeno, just some store-bought mayo, cracked black pepper, zest and juice of a lime, and grated garlic.
Shake off any excess flour, and you throw it in. As soon as the liquid comes out of the lemons and the parsley is when they're gonna start to get crunchy, and that's when the popping starts happening. All right, so the last of the lemon and parsley is coming out.
Boy, that looks
Look how crunchy it is. Yay! It's just a fun garnish because lemon and herbs are so good with fish, you know?
Yes.
Oh, it looks good.
Right?
I mean.
So I'm just gonna start putting some of our...
God, the fish plate
crunch,
was
click.
such a good call.
I know.
So cute.
So cute. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put my little aioli in a bowl for that.
I love it. And then we just garnish.
And we'll get little Liv a plate.
I'm gonna take a big piece of fish.
This is just a beautiful
I'm gonna start with
crunch.
the potatoes. I'm so
starting
excited
right
about
with
the
the
potatoes.
fish. Oh my God. So good.
This fish is so good.
It really is.
I am hopelessly devoted to pasta, and I'm also a big fan of seafood. So it won't surprise you that I'm getting ready to combine the two in a real favorite of mine. Best thing is, in about 10 minutes, the whole thing will be ready. Start the clock. I'm making mixed seafood pasta, and words cannot describe how beautiful a dish this is. I'm not gonna need words because you're gonna see it in no time. First thing I'm gonna do is start cooking the seafood. I have a mix of regular peeled shrimp, some sliced calamari, and this is a little indulgent, but this dish calls for it, some cut up pieces of lobster. I'm gonna sprinkle the seafood with salt and pepper. And I started with a pretty hot skillet, and it had a little oil and butter in there. The butter was almost starting to turn a little brown, so that's gonna help the fish get some great color in a really short amount of time. I don't have to cook it all the way through at this stage. I'm gonna take it out and then it'll cook in the sauce eventually. Okay? That's about halfway cooked, so I'll go ahead and take it out of the skillet. It didn't get fully cooked, and it doesn't need to. It smells so amazing. Oh my, oh my. I want to leave some of the juices in the pan, and I'll let the fish sit while I move on with the sauce. I've got some really finely diced red onion, and it's just gonna go right in with all that yummy seafood flavor, and some minced garlic. And then I have a few more things to add. A couple tablespoons of capers. Capers is one of those ingredients that I kind of forget about. I always seem to have it in my pantry, but I just don't remember to use it very often. And anytime I do, I'm always so glad I did. I have some sun-dried tomatoes that are chopped, and then some beautiful thyme and rosemary leaves. Okay, now I'll stir this around. These onions are diced so fine that it's not gonna take long at all for them to soften. So I'm gonna deglaze the pan with some white wine. Probably about half a cup or so. Wine in a skillet with garlic is just heaven. This skillet was so hot that that wine just started reducing almost immediately. So now I can add the cream. Yes, this is a creamy seafood pasta, and I am adding a very generous amount. You can add between a cup and 2 cups, just depending on how creamy you like your sauce. And I'll season this with salt and pepper. Ah, look at the color of this with those sun-dried tomatoes and capers. Just wait till you see the finished dish. I'm gonna let this cook for another 4 minutes while the sauce thickens. So this is the perfect time to add the seafood, and you'll notice all those juices are dripping off the plate. You don't want any of that flavor to go to waste. Okay, I think by the time I've got everything else stirred in, that seafood's gonna be done. So I'm gonna keep moving forward. Instead of a bed of spinach, I'm gonna put spinach in the dish itself. It takes no time for spinach to wilt. So I'll just give it a little stir in the sauce. And then, of course, to finish things off, I'm gonna grab the pasta. It is perfectly cooked by now. So it goes right on top of the spinach. Okay, now I'll turn off the heat. I'm gonna zest in a little bit of lemon. The flavor is just everywhere you turn in this dish. Lemon always brightens up a seafood dish. It's always a good idea. I have some minced parsley and I'll sprinkle it on, along with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And it's the moment of truth. Time to toss all of this together. Get underneath there and pull the seafood up to the top and just keep tossing until you see all the elements of the dish. And I just can't emphasize enough how delicious it smells. I'll grab the lemon and I'm gonna do lemon, parsley, and Parmesan right on top. And this is definitely one of those dishes you can serve right out of the skillet. Okay, the rest of the lemon zest and more parsley and a little more Parmesan. Okay, stop the clock. Okay, you'll have to give me a little leeway on the 10 minutes. I might have gone over just a little bit, but how fast did that come together? Speedy seafood works for me.
Okay, I need that, and I need that. All right, friends, you are basically looking at the two superheroes of stir fry. So chicken powder, although it's called chicken powder, it doesn't read in the pan as chicken. No, it adds basically a flavor boost that pops all of your stir fry. It's not the same as chicken bouillon. It's formulated for Chinese food and makes incredible stir fry. So important, in fact, I call it chicken power in my kitchen. So use it in all of your stir fries. Oyster sauce is the soul of creating brown sauces for stir fries. So in the past, they've told us, soy sauce. No, oyster sauce has savoriness, has sweetness. It is the soul of stir fry. These two are stir fry superheroes. So for fried rice, day-old rice is always going to play easy in the wok. It won't stick, it's easy to cook. We're gonna need 4 cups of cooked rice, which means 2 cups of uncooked rice. I prefer jasmine, personally. I think it's got a nice fragrance. As for the shrimp, yes, I'm using peel-on, head-on shrimp because I think it's delicious. But if you can't get your mind around eating peels and peeling shrimp, feel free just to use kind of medium or large peeled and deveined shrimp. I'm always looking for kind of clear eyeballs and nice kind of clean ocean smell. You're gonna be fine, trust me. All right, so let's get all our chopping out of the way first. This is kind of a workflow, if you've cooked with me a lot, you should get into because it actually makes your life a lot faster. We're gonna knock out all the vegetables, put them on separate plates, and then we'll get into the cook because Chinese food is really kind of 90% prep, 10% fire. All right, so first let's dice an onion, and I'll always, as you know, do the top, the back, cut in between, and I like to peel. So once you're here, I'm gonna find that rainbow. Don't cut the onion all the way through. Always leave a little piece connected. That way, when you do dice, the whole onion doesn't fall apart. A really great tip I've got for you is instead of arranging 1,000 little bowls full of diced whatever or sauce, try to just bank or mise en place everything onto plates because that's gonna make your life a lot easier. Carrots, top, the bottoms, and then again, anything really wide, cut into 4 inches. And I want a little variation here, so why don't I do like half coins for the carrots? All right, for ginger, ginger's kind of a fun one, right? So I like to kind of break off the fingers to get that main piece of ginger, square that piece off so it sits up straight, and then watch what I do with the back of my knife. I'm just applying a little bit of pressure, peeling the piece of ginger. If you're comfortable with the back of the knife, then start moving to the edge of the knife. And it actually will get the job done a lot faster that way. You can do 2 sides in a matter of seconds. It's that Jet Tila cutting rhyme. A tile becomes a slice, and a slice becomes a dice. So first thing I'm gonna do is square it off. I'm gonna cut, 1/8-inch tiles here. I like to lay them all on top of each other and then bang them out all at the same time. 1/8-inch tiles becomes 1/8-inch slices. And for salt and pepper shrimp, I'm gonna want something on the diced side, so I'm gonna gather all these tiles, and I've just kind of rough minced my ginger. Simple. All right, scallions. Big question I always get is, do I use the whites or the greens? Dude, use it all. My grandma would be freaking out if I wasted any part of this. For the salt, pepper, shrimp, I want a smaller slice because what we're trying to do is create a crust, in essence, to crust the shrimp. These small slices are gonna blend with our spice mix and really adhere to the shrimp really well. And on the other side of things, for the fried rice, I could get a little larger, so we're gonna do an angled bias slice and make them a little larger because we want them to stand up in the fried rice. All right, done deal. And again, before you start to deal with like raw protein, it's just so much easier to get all your knife work out in one. Jalapeno pepper, we're gonna do the stem. If these are really fat, I might cut them in half, but they're not. So I'm just gonna cut nice thin rings, knowing they're gonna adhere to that spice mix. You never see an Asian chili, ever. You know, unless you're in a foofy, fancy French restaurant that's making Asian food. You know what, my grandmas and the chefs I've worked with would never seed a chili. Okay, garlic. I'm gonna need garlic for both dishes. So what I'll do, since I need a lot, is I'm gonna cut off the root side so these garlic cloves can pop out. With the roots off, just give them a nice flat smash and the cloves will pop right out. I'm totally okay with peeled garlic, but you know, I wanted to show you the technique. On top of that, I think my culinary producers just want to torture me. Thanks, guys. Loving you. Fun. I'll be smelling like garlic for days. Okay, rough chop. Don't overthink this, especially using a wok, because the wok gets to 400 degrees and you don't want to over-process your garlic. Okay, a wee bit for fried rice, and the other part is going to be for salt and pepper shrimp. Bell pepper. So see the stem and you see the back? I'm gonna make my tiles, that first tile with the top, and if I've done my job right, check that out. Stem pops right out, okay? I'll do a tile off the bottom, and now find the tile sides, stay inside, make a quarter turn, and I wanna try to cut that seed pod out all in one, just like so. Yellow, same thing. Boom, boom. And then I'm gonna make a giant tile with the body and then cut it into smaller tiles. Vegetable fried rice, I mean, let's think about this, right? I'm getting a variation of knife cuts here, and I want the rice to kind of be prominent, so I'm gonna leave these cuts on the smaller side. So again, guys, tile, slice, dice. And we are in a good spot there. Some reds, some yellows, and we are in business. Okay, mise en place, done. I mean, that's how fast your knife work can be, knocking it out all in one. Piles of beautiful cut vegetables and herbs, and this basically just saved us 10 little bowls, and those little bowls is what makes my wife really mad at me in the kitchen when she has to kind of clean up if I'm cooking. All right, so let's get started with the vegetable fried rice, veggies, rice, oil. I got my tools. It's all about mise en place. Fancy French word, but it's so critical. It just means everything must be in its place because fried rice, like any stir fry, is a culinary equivalent to a roller coaster ride. Once this thing is at 500 degrees and ripping, you can't get off the ride and start crying and get freaked out. We just gotta get rolling. Okay, pan is hot, mise en place set. Eggs are the secret to very fluffy fried rice. The egg will coat the rice and make it super light. Keeps you from using a lot of oil. All right, first thing is gonna be a little oil. Next, aromatics, and in this case, it's gonna be the garlic. And I'm gonna do the onion as well. Let's get those kind of translucent, get those fragrant. This next part is a dance. We gotta go egg and rice right afterwards because you want the egg to be still wet. And the whole idea is to smash the rice into the egg. You want full coating here. It's really magic because the egg covers the rice. It protects it from sticking to the pan. It gives it this almost like lightness and body to it. And once I season it, the egg is protein. And the little bit of fat in the eggs is really gonna pick up more kind of savory flavor. All right, vegetables. Got my carrots, got my bell peppers, and I'm gonna save my scallions for the end. I don't wanna overcook those. I just want you to use this recipe as a base for your favorite vegetables and proteins. As long as you get the order right, it's always gonna work out deliciously. Very bad juju to break rice in the Asian culture. So whenever I see these rice balls or these little pieces of rice that don't want to play ball, I use the back of the spatula and work them apart. Don't break rice. All right, I'm in the seasoning portion of this. So firstly, salt. I like to use soy, but just a little bit. And oyster sauce really kind of is the quintessential Chinese seasoning because it's got the savory, the sweet. It's got everything in it. Again, don't weigh down your fried rice with too much. A tiny bit of sugar. And for me, fried rice takes white pepper. White pepper to me has almost like a floral quality to it. And I'm seasoned. That's really it for me. And again, if you look at my fried rice, it doesn't look like I spilled a gallon of soy sauce in there. I still can recognize every other ingredient. And I'm just looking for a balance in colors, putting all those flavors together. And because I still need to make my salt and pepper shrimp, I'm gonna kill the heat here, garnish with half my scallions, and I'll save the other half for later. And yo, I'm in business. I mean, this is perfect for me. All right. Fried rice done, friends. Let's keep it nice and warm. So salt and pepper shrimp mise en place, as you can see here. I've got my shrimp, got my veggies, big old bowl of cornstarch, and can't fire this without a wok. So let's get that hot. This is kind of another dance act where we're gonna coordinate a lot of things happening at the same time. These shrimp have been rinsed and cleaned. I've left a lot of the moisture on them because I'm going to be dredging them really quickly and frying them. First thing I need to do is make the magic spice mix. So in a bowl, first thing we'll do is salt, and of course our chicken powder, and then I've got a little bit of white pepper, and then a wee bit of sugar. If you find yourself falling in love with salt and pepper anything, because you can salt pepper pork chops, chicken, whatever, make this spice mix times 10, put it in an airtight container, and just always have it handy. So that is ready to go. So next step is going to be frying up the shrimp. And again, tail on, shell on, head on. So I've got frying oil at about 350, 365, and this is gonna happen quickly. So as you can see, the shrimp, because they're wet, is picking up all that cornstarch. I'm not gonna knock that much off because I want that to create a crispy crust. Now, I'm not trying to cook these shrimp too far. I just want the exteriors very crispy, but the inside still moist. So this, depending on the size of the shrimp, could take just, I don't know, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Don't overcook these shrimp. And do them in batches because you're cooling down the oil as you throw them in there. With my cooling rack ready, I'm waiting for the cornstarch to just brown up a little bit so I can check them with a spider and let them roll just a little while longer while I start my second batch. Every Sunday as a kid, my family would gather at the Chinese Cantonese restaurant and do what we call turntable Chinese. Come on, you've had to have grown up at a turntable Chinese restaurant. And there were always staples on the table. Salt and pepper shrimp was an absolute staple. And it was almost like a rite of passage because the young kids were always like, ew, I can't eat the shrimp with the peel and the head on. So the parents would peel them off for you. And as you grow up and as you graduate, you start to figure out, yo, this isn't so bad. Your grandparents and your parents and your uncles would be like, oh, look at you, Jet, you're growing up. You learned how to eat the skin and the head and the whole deal. If you're totally freaked out by this head-on business, just get peeled and deveined shrimp, do exactly the same thing, and you will be good to go. So I'm about 3/4 done with frying shrimp. I'm gonna land them on my rack as I turn on this wok and get it really hot. My scrimps are cooked. They're ready for their next cooking. If you happen to have any delay between the first cook and the second cook, just pop these in a warm oven, like a 200-degree oven, while you're setting up your wok station. And that'll keep them nice and crispy. The wok is hot. I'm just gonna pull some oil from the frying side. It's got all that shrimpy flavor in it. And we're gonna start our aromatics in here. And what I mean by that is the garlic, the ginger, and some of the chilies. I wanna get that on the crispy side, slightly brown. Then we're gonna marry our shrimp in there. It's a common technique to do this double fry situation. So check it out. I've got all that deliciousness crusted on there, the garlic, the ginger, the chilies, and it's absorbed it all. So I'm gonna take a little more oil now because I need this shrimp to have some oil on it for the magic dust. And I'm gonna toss to get the dust on there. So I'm using white pepper for a few reasons. It's lighter, it's more floral, and I think it just has a better flavor profile. And lastly, I'm gonna crust. Yo, if you can't do this kind of like pat your tummy and rub your head at the same time, don't worry about it. Just throw your scallions in. But that's it, man. That is salt and pepper shrimp. I can't tell you how happy I am right now making this for you, knowing I'm gonna be able to eat this soon. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the heat, let this stay warm, and I'm gonna show you how to plate up both dishes in a beautiful tableau of Cantonese food. I mean, with such beautiful food, you don't really need to do much. I've got some pretty plates. I think I'm gonna do the platter au shrimp, and I'm gonna try to pile up at the top. And you always want those crunchy, fancy bits at the top there. All the garlic and ginger. And then finally with the rice, vegetable fried rice. This is one of those meals where you become the kitchen hero. If you go in and all of a sudden you walk out with these two awesome dishes, I mean, dude. A little bit of garnish for the rice. Same for the shrimp. I think it would be fun to kind of teach you how to eat the head on shrimp. What a pro would do is take the head first and actually eat all that delicious stuff out of it. And I have a very specific way of doing it. I like eating the tail piece first because I think it becomes nice and crispy. And then I just follow it up with the body. If you fried correctly, all of the shell has basically become the texture of potato chips, right? That spice mix that you made gives you that savory pop, the salt pop, the ginger, the garlic. It really is a perfect Cantonese bite.
I'm making linguine with shrimp scampi. It's a great summer dish. I add oil to the pasta pot so that the pasta doesn't stick together, and salt for flavor. Okay, that's gonna cook for 7 to 10 minutes according to the directions on the package. Okay, that's 3 tablespoons of olive oil and about 3 tablespoons of butter. I do the olive oil because it has a high burning temperature and the butter because it has lots of flavor. I know this looks like a lot, but it's the sauce for the entire dish. And about 1.5 tablespoons of garlic. With garlic, you really don't want to cook it too long, so just about a minute. Nothing worse than the flavor of burnt garlic. So 1 minute while I get everything else ready. So the first thing is shrimp. And what I buy is peeled and deveined shrimp from the fish store. If you can't buy it, you can always peel and devein it yourself. I'm gonna add a pound of shrimp and just cook it for a very short time, like 3 to 5 minutes. And all that flavor of the garlic is gonna get into the shrimp. So first thing I'm gonna do is salt and pepper the shrimp. I want it to have lots of flavor because when you add the pasta, the sauce has to flavor the pasta also. So it's gonna be really strongly flavored. Just turn the shrimp so they cook evenly on both sides. It smells so good, all that garlic and butter and oil. How bad can that be? So just drain the water from it, and then it's gonna go right into that pan with the shrimp and the garlic and butter and oil. It's gonna absorb all that great flavor. Okay, just like that. 2 spoons. Just toss it all together. This is actually a great way to make any pasta. Italians do it. Even when you're making pasta with tomato sauce, as you cook the pasta and the sauce together for the last few minutes, and it really absorbs the flavor. Okay, and then the last ingredients are lemon zest, lemon juice, I like a little bit of heat, so just a sprinkling of red pepper flakes. Okay, just toss that together, and then I have 2 more things to put in. Parsley. Okay, right on top. And then because I want you to know, you can't really see the lemon, but I want you to know it's lemon, what I do is a few thin slices of lemon. People aren't gonna eat them, but they'll see that it's lemon. So I'm gonna add a few slices of lemon to the whole thing before I finish its tossing. This is really a great summer lunch.